Hi, I'm Heather Erb, and this is Shine.fm's Momcast. Today, I have an opportunity to speak to LauraStory. Not only is she an amazing mom and wife, but she's also a songwriter of songs like Blessings and the current song that we're playing, Open Hands. She's also an author, so we'll explore all of those areas of her life. And I started out by asking her about the new song that we're playing, Open Hands.
Oh, man, Open Hands is one of my favorite ones from the album. And first of all, having Mac on it really is a treat. He's been a friend for a long time and, amazing voice. So just having him part of it is really special. But the song itself, it's kind of just what the Lord's teaching me right now about, how much I like to be in control. I'm a little bit of a recovering control freak, even though to say I'm recovering makes me sound like I'm making more progress than I actually am with it. But I'm learning that if I trust God, it really means living a life with open hands, where I'm willing to trust Him with the big things and the small things. And as a worship leader and as a worshiper, I'm learning that it's not so much the things I say to God or the things I sing to God as much as it is the posture of my heart. Am I really coming before Him wanting to be changed? Am I really coming before Him with a posture of surrender? So that's kind of the idea behind Open Hands.
So when you wrote it, were you thinking, I have to have Mac Powell on this song? Or, how does that come about when you...
I wasn't. I just wrote it as a worship song, so I kind of, envisioned anyone singing it. But we were recording it, and I thought, man, it'd be cool to have someone else singing on, just a strong male vocal with me. And Mac, has one of the more recognizable voices in Christian music, and we've gotten to sing on some stuff together before. So it was just a treat that he was willing to do it.
Oh, that's awesome. I think it's a great, first time I heard it, I was like, oh, really? Oh, Mac Powell. Because I think you just,
he makes anybody sound good.
Yeah. I think there's a contrast between your guys' voices that it just, because when you come in on that second verse, it's just like, oh, you know what I mean? There's just something about the way that you guys did that. So that's why I was like, I wonder if you, have you ever done that? Have you ever written a song? I'm going to kind of throw off our questions here, but have you ever written a song where you were like, oh, I could hear, this person's, and then tried to get that person to do a song with you?
Oh, absolutely. As a songwriter, I'm always more concerned with the song than I am me being the one singing it. My goal is to write songs that serve the church well. And so, the very first song that I ever wrote that got any sort of radio play was Indescribable. Right. And people would ask me, were you mad that Chris Tomlin recorded it? And I was like, why would I be mad that another artist that I, esteem so highly would choose one of my songs to record? And so that was a neat experience. But it kind of opened the door for me as a writer. And so I'm always just honored when anyone else is willing to sing one of my songs.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I would say I think you're probably okay with Chris Tomlin singing one of your songs. You know what I mean? You'd probably be upset about that at all, probably. Well, let's talk about, and this isn't your first book. Is this your second book, When God Doesn't Fix It?
It is, yeah. It's probably my favorite though of the two. The book When God Doesn't Fix It, it's about some of the struggles my husband and I have walked through with his health and how God has been faithful to us in the midst of that. It's for anyone who's ever had God answer their prayers differently than they expected, or maybe not in the time frame that they had wished. So it's the truths that God used to kind of sustain our family in the midst of walking a path that we never imagined, but really seeing God's blessings and His faithfulness even in the midst of that hard road.
Is it really like your story and a little bit behind the scenes of
It is, yeah.
So people will... It's
our story. But even though, I remember talking with the publisher and saying, I don't want it just to be some sweet story about, what we walked through as much as I want it to be pointing to God's Word. And I want people to be able to see their own story in the midst of it. I really want them to be able to envision how God can sustain them in the midst of the trial.
Cool. Well, let's talk about Christmas. Many of our listeners, when we air this, will be right in the midst of Christmas. I suspect we'll probably air this the first week of December. And like, what are some of the things now with littles? And I call them littles. I don't have littles anymore, Laura. I have a 13-year-old,
yes,
11-year-old, and a 10-year-old. But I mean, you do life differently at Christmas with littles. So, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to this holiday season? And what are some of the traditions that you guys have?
Well, I'll tell you, we are just at the beginning of like starting traditions because our kids are 4, 2,
right.
and 2. So, we'll travel and see family. We'll do all of the, the presents and the tree and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, even just seeing and experiencing Christmas through their, hi there. Speaking of little, thank you, Najee. Sorry about that. I just getting to experience the holidays through their eyes for the first time. You know, I've been realizing how accustomed I'd grown to kind of this story that really is a miraculous story of this woman being chosen to carry the Son of God, to have him rather than in a hospital in a barn. Right. Using rather than a crib, a manger, a feeding trough for animals. And I'm telling my little 4-year-old this, and she's just, like, her jaw's dropping. And I'm thinking, man, I want that. I want that awe and wonder, like the first time I heard the story. And so that's been one of my prayers this Christmas, is just that I would experience it in a new way, and just that my appreciation would deepen for what Jesus, really, what it really meant for the Word to become flesh and to dwell among us, and really what it meant for Jesus to come to earth for us.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Griffin and Benjamin and Josie, especially the boys, because I have actually encouraged our listeners to follow you on Facebook because of because of some of the posts, though, because your boys have some of the greatest facial expressions. And then can we talk about the toilet post that you did just not too long ago? Can we talk about that, Laura?
Yes. Ben, I do a little like memory book every year for our family for Christmas. And this year I have a whole page of Ben getting stuck. I mean, it's probably 12 pictures of different places that Ben has gotten stuck all over the house, all over the nation, really. Like, getting stuck under an airplane seat, getting stuck. Anyway, but the one you're referring to was him getting stuck. It's his foot stuck in the toilet. And really the story behind that, I couldn't find. I was like, Ben, where are you? And I realized he's in the bathroom and he's locked the door, and I'm just frantic. And so I had to, so I take the door handle off with a screwdriver and the lights off. And so I finally get the door open, turn the light on, and that picture is, there he is with his foot stuck in the toilet. And I'm thinking, what on earth were you even trying to do? So they are so much fun. But I'll tell you, the twin boys, they love getting into trouble. They love just daring each other to do stuff, and they're a mess.
I don't know if this will be an encouragement to you or not, Laura, but I have boys that are just like less than 20 months apart. So not twins, but I will tell you, they still get into trouble, and they are 11 and 10. So I don't know that it's going to get any easier. So I just want to prepare you that you have many years of lots and lots of funny stories and lots of funny pictures, I'm sure, ahead of you. Because
and even having Josie, Josie's 4, and she's been big sister from day one. She has been super helpful, and as always, she's Mama Junior. So I do have, my husband and I do have some help with her around.
Well, that's great. Well, one other question I wanted, and I didn't write this in my notes, and that's why I didn't mention it, but we are going to play your new Christmas song as well, and I could play that in my breaks as well. So tell a little bit about the story behind that song and how that all came to be for you.
No, which song is it? Do you know?
And of course, it's the one that they released to radio.
Just this past year, just a few months ago? Okay, yeah. The song, I've always been a fan of the old hymn, Come Thou Long Expected Jesus. And so a friend of mine got together and we put a new chorus on it. And it really is, it's neat, the fact that we get to sing as a church that cry of Israel, where they were pleading and awaiting that promised Messiah. But it's not just echoing their cry. I think that's the cry of my heart, for his second coming. As hard as life is these days, as hard as it is to watch the news and see, those sad headlines each day of, think about in our area, we just had a school bus crash that left dozens of kids injured and 6 kids dead. And you look at these and you think, what does any of this have to do with Christmas? And then you're reminded that this is why Jesus came. Jesus was God's response to the brokenness of humanity, and so it's right for our hearts to sing, come, Jesus, we need you to return, we need you to make all of this right. It's right that would be the plea of our hearts.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and that's the name of it. I just couldn't, I was like, I should ask her about the Christmas song. And of course
no, you're fine.
I'm sorry about that. So.
Not a problem at all.
I try to be prepared, Laura, and I know you probably don't get that all the time.
No,
so.
I think you're very prepared. You knew my kids' names. That's very prepared.
Well, I had to after, I think one day on the air I was like, okay, if you just need, and I think it was during the height of the election season, probably a few months ago, like when I was ready just to take a break from Facebook and did because it was just, difficult. But I was like, if you need something to pop up in your feed that is going to brighten your day, follow LauraStory because she has got some of the cutest.
I'm not going to talk anything about politics. I'm not going to.
Well, and just so you're posting about your kids a lot, which is great because they're so cute. And then the funniest stuff that they get into, so. And I'm a mom of almost teenagers, and so it's nice. They're so cute. And then I'm not in that stage anymore, Laura. So it's, I can look back and think they're cute.
I know. Everybody says it. They fly by.
They do.
We'll see.
And it does get, and this is the thing that I always try to tell moms of littles is you're in, especially for you with the twin boys and with, Josie only being 4, you're in the labor-intensive years right now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's a lot of physical work and also okay, do we let them touch that? Do we not do that? How do we handle that?
Yes.
And you do all that hard work then, and then it does get easier because you've laid all this groundwork of, making sure that they are mostly obedient most of the time and they listen to you, and then it does get easier and you start to be able to enjoy the person and the people that God made them to be instead of just feeling like I have to make sure they don't die today.
I know. So. Yeah, that's exactly it. My goal, so many days my goal is I just want to keep them alive. I just need them to stay alive today.
Well, because I had 3 in 3 years, I tell people, there were literally days where I was like, okay, everybody got a nap, everybody got fed, everybody got changed. Hey, it was a good day. Everybody's still alive.
Absolutely.
And I didn't get anything else done, but everybody's still alive. So it was a good day in the Herb household.
Amen to that. well, thanks for taking time to talk. I so appreciate it.
LauraStory's brand new album becomes available this week. You can make sure and check that out. Also, she has books available as well. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Momcast with Shine.fm.